Investors, I have two tips for you right now. The market's definitely leveled off, but I'm starting to see a lot of investors come out of the woodworks. So there's two things going on. I have investors calling me for investment properties to hold money again or investment land, especially in Washington State here. We have a bunch of land and developing's going crazy. I mean, it hit record books for builders right now. I mean, what is it? In 3 decades, we're just building like crazy, and I'm selling another development piece of land. Sold one 2 years ago that DR Horton's going to do. Um, it's crazy. So building is still going on. So buying land right now in key locations, key areas, trying to think about in 10 years down the road, 15, 20, or even 5 years is huge for investing in land right now. And same with commercial buildings. I know commercial is wonky and going down and this and that, but for some reason I keep seeing, and I know the reasons, I keep seeing key stuff start being sold. And then you're seeing a lot of people cash out of investments as well. So we're coming to that age where some people are done with their investments. I have another 2 commercial buildings coming up. One's a phenomenal location I'm actually excited about. I wish I had enough money to buy that one. I don't, but that's a really cool opportunity. So a lot of people are either cashing out because they want to keep the cash because who knows what's going on with the market. But right now, with it being leveled off, I'm seeing a lot of people start to come and buy. So tip number 1 is if you have the money in the cash and you find a good investment to do a long-term hold, 5, 10, 15 years, I'm more in the year of a 10-year hold. It's huge, especially with land right now. If you can find key locations for development with the way we're building, we have no inventory yet. They say we have buyers. I'm seeing a hit and miss with buyers. I'm seeing yes buyers. Interest rates, yes, we've paused interest rates. That's why we're seeing this spike. And now more people are starting to come out to buy for a little bit. We're supposed to have 2 more Fed hikes on the rates coming up. We'll see how that hits the market. And then always election year is always kind of all over the board with statistics and charts. So we'll see what's actually going on. But for now, everybody's staying positive. Everybody's saying buy homes, buy rentals, buy investments. Even Ricky Caruth is saying he's buying 5 new builds to hold as rentals. There's a little mix with that. I like new builds, love them, and hold as a rental, absolutely. The values actually do go up from what I've seen. We bought a DR Horton 3 years ago, brand new for rental, and it's gone up $150,000 in value. Plus the rent we got was $3,200 a month on that DR Horton, $3,250 somewhere in there. Great rate of return. With the value going up. I mean, the rental was, when you do the cap rate in the rental, we were at a 4.5%, 5% rate of return on the rental, but the value that the home came back at, astronomical, amazing. So I can see the new home builds, great. Now, tip number 2, that goes into or segues into buying new homes as investments. Here's a fun tip. If you're new at investing, it's fun to do. Find a new home build that's not built yet. It's going to be out 8 months to a year. Some require 5,000 down, some require 10, 15, 20. I try to do the minimum, 5,000. So here's an example. There's a new build going on. It took 2.5 years, $5,000 earnest money down, non-refundable. When that 2 years came, that property that I put $5,000 down already went up in value from when they sold it to me up to $150,000 in value on that other new home build. It's phenomenal. So for $5,000, I made $150,000. I could have bought it, turned around, sold it. Yes, after capital gains and whatnot, I probably would have only made $100,000. So if you can find new home builds, and if you want to gamble and have the easy, fun way, put $5,000 non-refundable down, and in a year, if it's worth even $50,000 more, great. You can buy it, hold on to it. You can maybe flip it for a quick $15,000, $20,000 if you try for sale by owner. After everything's said, who knows how much you'd actually make. But the rental, absolutely, they are good rentals. Now, the rate of return is not as good as if you go find an auction home, foreclosure home, or you find something that needs, you need to fix it up. You need to go in there and spend $30,000, $50,000. So I have a few off-market ones coming on. 325 needs $50,000 worth of work, and it's going to be worth 5 to 530. So there's a good rate of return, but you have to do the work. You have to do the contractors. You have to put the 50,000 in and so forth. Where the new home builds, I put $5,000 down, turn it into a rental in 2 years. If the market keeps going up, even if it's at 5 to 10%, or depending on what location or what state you buy in. I mean, I'm starting to look at fun states to buy new builds, or at least put $5,000 down on the properties. you could get another $50,000 to $100,000 return if you pick the right cities that are growing and continue to grow for the next 2 to 3 years, especially if you buy and it's still a year out with builds. So I want to find some that aren't even built yet, put the $5,000 non-refundable. Now that's, trust me, some are more, 10, 15, 20, depending on the builders and location. So just be aware of that. But this is exciting. So investors, one, lands right now are huge. Commercial and key locations right now, they're getting a lot of people cash out, a lot of people coming in, transitioning money, especially if you're in an opportunity zone. That's a whole different ballgame. Opportunity zones, as you know, great tax shelters for a lot of high-end money for commercial properties. Take a look at that. And then the new home builds. The new home builds are fun. I love new home builds for rentals. One last thing to consider with investing right now, when you're starting to look at all the different numbers and where everything's going, I'm also seeing in the market, because we can never predict where the market's going to go. Some people say this, that, or whatnot. All I like to do is show the patterns of what's going on, what I see the patterns coming up, and what I think the patterns are going to do. But right now I saw more than I've ever seen of high-end waterfront. And I think listing, so high-end waterfront listing all through Olympia, Thurston County here, and it's crazy. So what I think everybody's doing is, again, moving on. It's that kind of transitional age where you're kind of cashing out, but they're also cashing out. I see a lot of people wanting that cash for other opportunities. So is it kind of a warning sign that, hey, it's leveling off, but it may spike a little bit and then drop? We don't know, but I can tell you one thing. Everybody wants their cash right now because cash is king. So if there is an opportunity, if you have cash on the side, yes, it's going to be huge, especially if the market goes the other way. Now, if it keeps going up, that's fine. You've taken your cash and you can go reinvest and restart again. And I think that's also what I'm seeing is I've had more phone calls from new and young investors starting to see, hey, I have some extra cash, or hey, older investor, hey, I have an extra 400,000. Can you find me a hold property? Absolutely. So that's the fun part right now is I'm seeing more investors in it. I'm seeing people realize that, yes, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's start reinvesting in real estate. I'm seeing other people cash out, pull their cash, maybe they're hold, or maybe it's just time to move on. And I love new home builds as rentals or investments, especially if you can do the 5K down, wait for it to be built in 8 months to a year, however fast the builder is cranking them out. Could be a great opportunity for you there as well. So those are my 2 tips for investors today, with an extra, I think, free investment tip in there. Captain Ron out. If you have any questions, you want to look at investments, Washington State, Olympia, any of the other states, if you have questions, call me. I am always watching the market and patterns. Cheers. I'm going to have a Chico water. It's not an ad. Just love this freaking water. Who would have thought, from Mexico, right? Captain Ron out. Have a good day, guys.